Hello and welcome to AfterWyrd, the show where we fit on all the strange, mysterious and downright weird stuff we don't fit into the regular episodes, and also the show that leaves you feeling warm and fuzzy inside after listening. My name's Andy.
Is there another podcast recording?
No, it's this one. We were told
this one. All right, yeah. No, I'm warm and fuzzy. I'm warm and fuzzy and my name's Craig. Welcome to the show.
I thought maybe that's our name, like one of us is warm, one of us is fuzzy. I mean, I guess you're fuzzier than me. And I'm in my house and you're in your studio shed, so you're probably not as warm as me. So there you go. I'm warm, you're fuzzy. What have we got to talk about today, Craig? Have you?
Can you tell we've both been sick? We're just like mumbling shit. We're still in some weird flu coma. Yeah,
sort of some fugue kind of viral state. We had the lurgy, have the lurgy. That's how dedicated we are. We actually get sick at the same time, even though we're recording, sort of an hour and a half away from each other. Have we got anything before weird news today?
I've got my own weird, news encounter, I guess I could tell you about. I meant to do it last time, actually, but I forgot.
Oh. So what have you got?
I just had this kind of, I don't know, slightly weird encounter, I guess. So I was walking back from dropping my van off at the local garage, needed a bit of a service after Christmas, as we all did. And so I was just dropping the van off and cutting back through fields to get back to Potton because it's like next village over. And I bumped into a local legend, Santa.
I was going to say, we spoke to him.
Well, now, spoiler alert for the kids out there, all right? So this was actually the real Santa from the Potton Bummers.
Oh.
Yeah. You know,
Wow.
the one from In Comes I Old Father Christmas, Down's a Pint. He doesn't in my video, but I can tell you guys that he did on Christmas Eve. So yeah, proper legend. Anyway,
was it a pint of ale, pint of lager?
I don't know. Someone handed him a pint and he downed it rather swiftly. In front of all the kids. Don't try this at home, kids.
Excellent. I guess, sort of Santa doesn't just drink sherry or my Christmas mead.
And actually, so if you look at that Mama's episode on our YouTube, the picture on the thumbnail is the Santa guy. That's him, right?
Oh, wow.
So I've never seen him outside of being a mama. Of all the times I've lived here for 6 years, right? I've never bumped into him walking his dogs.
I just assumed he hibernates.
This is the first time. He didn't know me. And actually, I recognised him from his voice because he's got all the stuff on, right? As a mama. So, like, when he's out of costume, I didn't recognise him. And I heard his voice and I was like, "You're the mama. You're Santa." But yeah, so he had his two dogs. That. Well, so he had his dogs with him, and we were chatting, and then he looks around and he's like, "Oh, where's your dog gone?" And I was like, "Oh, she's at home." And I kind of thought, as I said, I didn't really know him, so I thought it was weird that he knew I had a dog.
Well, he knows when you're sleeping. He knows when you're awake.
This is true.
So he'd probably know if you've got a dog.
So, anyway, yeah, he looks at me dead serious and he says, "Oh, she can't be. I saw her. The black one that was over there with you a minute ago."
Your dog is
not
black.
Honestly, this field, you're on the top of the hill, looking down over several fields. There was no one in that field but me, Santa, and his two dogs. And he reckons that he saw me with a black dog walking through the field.
Whoa.
Yeah.
See, I don't know if that's I don't know if that's like a foreboding sign for you, because if it was following you, there's some iffy folklore.
He didn't say it was following me. He saw a dog in the field that he thought was mine.
But if I think it's the one that sees them is the one with bad luck. I don't know.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, yeah. But it's, traditional Wiltshire law, right? If you see a man dressed as a mama and he tells you seen a spectral dog.
Yeah, that's it. It means the harvest's going to be good that year?
Maybe.
I don't know. You're the Wiltshire
but
expert.
Yeah, is it like they are generally quite grim omens for a lot of...
They tend to be. Not always, but they tend to be.
And then I got the flu.
There you go. Proof.
Weird. But, yeah, I don't know. Just a bit weird, isn't it? Like,
but I also got
Guardian
the flu
as well. They can
Could
be
be a
guardians,
guardian.
can't
Yeah, I was
they?
going to say, especially the southwest ones.
Yeah, I don't know. I thought it was a bit strange anyway, so I thought I'd share that. So there you go. That's my personal weird news.
I like it. Nothing to report. I did see a black cat, crossing the path on my way back from work earlier, and my first thought was, I wonder if I shoot that at the right angle, I can pretend it's a big cat. But, yeah. I didn't.
So yeah, black dogs, black cats. Ominous for 2026.
Maybe. It's, news is still strange. Some of that features in my weird news today. But to an extent, not the, well, maybe the black cats.
I mean, yeah, talking of black cats, Andy, I mean, we are hoping to be joined by one of the many Pauls at some point on this call.
Unless they're black cats from space, then I've got a feeling it's not you, Paul.
I don't know. Let's leave it open. Let's let the listeners guess. Shall I just do some weird news?
Yeah, do some weird news. I'll keep guessing.
Okay. I thought this one was quite funny, actually. Shall I do this? So this is actually a year old, but I only saw it today in a magazine. And I thought it was a bit odd that the magazine was running with it. But it's from April 2025. We don't normally do this, but I wanted to get into it. So the headline is from thepinknews.com.
Oh, fantastic.
Not sure we've used Pink News before, but
I don't think we have.
Christian pastor prefers frisks from male airport security agents because scanners turn you gay.
Turning the freaking pastors gay.
So a Christian podcaster and pastor has said he prefers being patted down by airport security agents than going through body scanners because he thinks they turn people gay. 4th Street evangelical church preacher and conspiracy theorist author Andrew, I think it's Iska, used a portion of his right-wing current affairs podcast Contra Mundrum to spread a baseless, ridiculous conspiracy theory that TSA body scanners in airports can make people queer. Speaking to co-host CJ Angel, the right-wing pastor said he much prefers being frisked by agents instead of going through what he unironically described as a gay beam. I was waiting for you to take that drink.
No. Oh, no, and now we're using Riverside instead. Sort of there's a good chance the viewers might have seen me nearly choke up on that drink.
I just love the fact that he's like, look, the scanners turn people gay. I'd rather this guy
frisk me
down. Yeah. I think he might be a little bit closeted, is my personal opinion on that one.
No, dude, he's just scared about the gay beams. God, you got to look after yourself. They're out to get you with their gay beams. Mm-hmm. It's like that dude on that EDL march years ago was talking about Muslimic ray guns. It's the gay beam.
Yes. I don't think there's anything else worth mentioning in that article.
I don't know what it does other than that, but I bet you the beam itself looks absolutely fabulous.
Yeah, he's got some really out there conspiracy theories. LGBTQ plus people and allies are sacrificing babies and are sodomites is one of his other quotes.
Coming from the church, that's rich.
Anyway, methinks the Christian pastor does protest too much.
Indeed. Speaking of beams, this one is from IB Times.
IB Times?
IB Times. I've not used this one before. I don't even know what it is.
No, I don't know what that is.
Part of it being a website. But UFO Arms Race claims explode as whistleblower says US, Russia and China hold alien craft.
As do the UK, as we well know.
Indeed. Might be talking about that at some point in the near future. From a Congress testimony...
research coming.
From Congress testimony to Cold War secrets, claims of recovered UFO fuel, fears of hidden technological race. And it's got a nice AI image of a big flying saucer over a sleepy little town. Claims that the world's biggest military powers are secretly hoarding alien technology have surged back into the spotlight. The spark came from an explosive testimony delivered in Washington, where a whistleblower alleged that exotic craft of non-human origin are already in the possession of the United States, Russia, and China. According to sworn statements given to Congress, the United States, Russia, and China are allegedly in possession of these craft of non-human origin, sparking fears of a covert arms race far beyond conventional weapons. So this goes back to the chap that was talking in, this is David Grush. I think Grush is how you pronounce it.
I think it's Grush.
Grush.
I think.
I've never known how to. I've
Talking
only
in
really
Congress,
read it.
yeah.
Yeah. So apparently, some of this is what he's been talking about recently. A lot of it does seem to be going back to what he said in 2003. But, there you go, there's the link. Since that testimony, Grush has largely fallen silent, but other whistleblowers have stepped forward, reinforcing the idea that disclosure is being drip-fed to the public. Big lie coming. Supporters argue that the lack of visible evidence does not weaken the claims, insisting such material will be guarded more tightly than even the Manhattan Project during the Second World War. And naturally, it links to a Reddit story. Not doing that. Inside the alleged global technology race. At the heart of the controversy is a belief that recovered craft cannot be easily understood or copied. According to the insiders, these objects operate using principles far beyond current science, possibly involving space-time distortion or negative energy. This gap, they say, has slowed all attempts at reverse engineering, even by the most advanced militaries on Earth. Some researchers believe that modern breakthroughs such as fibre optics, lasers and infrared vision may have originated from earlier attempts to study craft. Others argue that the technology itself may be actively resisting human influence and interference. There are theories that some craft respond to thought using biological interfaces that lock out unauthorized access unless the operator has the correct intent. If true, it could explain why decades of secret research has produced so few clear details. That's convenient. So we all know about Roswell, right? But this is talking about a dramatic Soviet operation in August 1989 near Prokladny in the Northern Caucasus. According to converging testimonies, Russian forces allegedly used powerful radar and experimental lasers to destabilize a UFO flying over a military zone. After a missile explosion nearby, the object reportedly crashed and was recovered, then transported to the Kapustin Yar research site for underground study. Another case predates even Roswell. In the 1930s, a dish-shaped craft was allegedly recovered near Magenta in northern Italy. Benito Mussolini is said to have imposed total secrecy, threatening to execute anyone guilty of leaks. Italian scientists reportedly failed to understand the technology and later concluded it was not made by any known nation. In 1944, the Vatican is believed to have informed US forces, who then quietly removed the craft to America. China is said to be taking a different approach, using artificial intelligence to predict UFO sightings in remote regions, hoping to study or even capture one. Meanwhile, reports persist that Brazil recovered a craft during the... How do you pronounce that? I think we talked about this. The Vagina or Vagina? Have you heard this one before? It's, Vagina incident in 1996 and again in 2020, only for US forces to seize them. Whether these claims represent truth, exaggeration, or a complex mix of both, one thing is clear. The idea of a hidden UFO arms race is no longer confined to fringe circles. As whistleblowers speak out and governments remain evasive, the pressure for answers is building, and the world may soon be forced to confront a reality far stranger than fiction. There you go. I mean, it's kind of, on one hand, it's interesting that sort of more people are coming out. I didn't actually name any of them, but I guess if they're whistleblowers, they're not always going to be named. But at the same time, it does seem to be rehashing a lot of what we were talking about before.
Yeah, it's in the spotlight. Whether that's good or not, I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, we both kind of had a little bit of that on our predictions for 2026, didn't we?
We did. Yeah, I don't know. I don't want to say too much because we've got an episode coming up that
Indeed.
covers some quite weird UK-based stuff, which is quite dated now, I guess, but it's not something I've heard anyone talk about. So,
I mean, some bits are dated, some are quite relevant to the modern day, really.
it's all still
Some elements
relevant.
of
It's
it.
just in the books that I'm using are fairly old now. So, like,
Yes.
the sources are old, but yeah, we'll save it. We'll save it because
Yeah. No. Yeah. We'll come back to
it'll
this
only be in the
subject.
next few weeks. There'll be something coming up about UK UFOs.
Craig will finally return home.
Ouch.
Do you want to do one?
Yeah, I can do if you want. Let's have a look. Where is good? No, those two would be good stories to do. Okay, I'll make sure I get those two in today, I think. As we're going aliens, actually, let's go for this one. So this is from ancientorigins.net. And oldest cave art, 67,800-year-old hand stencils found in Sulawesi. You seen this one?
I think so, but refresh me.
I mean, that's basically the long and short of it. But the main thing is to show you a picture.
Oh, yeah, I do like pictures. All my books have pictures.
Because as we're talking aliens, this is worth discussing, I think. So they all have very pointed, long fingers, right?
Yeah.
There's obviously different ways of interpreting it. Maybe they were done by something that had long, pointy fingers.
Does happen.
Emma's saying it's plausible that they used to, like we do today, have long fingernails, that they were maybe pointed fingernails, which made them come out like that. They could be aliens, is another interpretation.
The most likely one, probably, let's face it.
Yeah. Or maybe it's just one of those things where we like to tell stories. Maybe they like to tell stories, and creatures and monsters have always existed in people's minds. And as part of that, they were making these handprints.
Yeah, I mean, it wouldn't be that hard to do a regular sort of handprint in that style and then just point the fingers a little bit, you know?
Yeah, so I guess for anyone that's listening, we probably kind of describe what they look like. So essentially, it's as if you've put your hand on the cave wall and then sprayed paint around the hand, so you're making like an inverse print.
Yeah.
But yeah, they have very long, pointy fingers, which I don't know, they're a bit creepy, I think.
Yeah, I mean, some of them, though, like there was one of them on the left-hand side that sort of almost, one of the fingers almost sort of wasn't properly attached to the hand. And I mean, that's obviously caused by like maybe the finger was at an angle or they painted sort of a bit too far under. Again, the same thing could happen in how they were painting it, you know?
They've been found on a limestone cave called, I don't know if I'm going to say this right now, Lanmaoa on Muna Island in southeastern Sulawesi. Where the handprints were made by spraying pigment around a hand pressed to the rock, leaving a negative outline.
Okay.
But yeah, they're estimated at 67,800 years old, meaning they could be the oldest paintings ever found.
I mean, I don't quite know what the hand shape would be like of the folks living back then.
Yeah, so researchers say some fingertips appear intentionally narrowed or pointed, creating an unusual, almost claw-like look.
Yeah.
That has also been seen at other Sulawesi sites, suggesting this wasn't a one-off accident, but part of the local artistic tradition, or aliens. It doesn't say that. I'm saying that. Yes. I know, it's interesting. It's old. It's history. We like a bit of history. And yeah, if you want to, as I say, whichever way you look at it, it's either very creative people
Yeah.
that are playing around with art and potentially going, oh, look, it's really creepy if I make my hands do this, right?
Yeah.
And that becomes a bit of a thing that people do, or they had contact with alien beings. I'll let the listeners decide.
I mean, so Neanderthals didn't go extinct till 40,000 years ago, right? I don't know what other human species were around then, or humanoid sort of species, subspecies, whatever you want to call them, were around at that point. It's not my area.
The authors note that there are no obvious method to identify the human group responsible for the stencil, complicated by evidence that Sulawesi hosted archaic hominins before the arrival of modern humans. But the paper argues the apparent technical and stylistic choices like the narrowed fingertips make it plausible the stencils belong to Homo sapiens.
You'll have to send us that article because I've got people at work that are far more knowledgeable about prehistory than I am. So I might have to see what they think.
It says, if Sulawesi's oldest cave wall art really sits at the dawn of the long migrations towards Sahul, Ice Age Australia, New Guinea, it strengthens the case that people carried a mature artistic culture with them as they crossed seas and islands. For readers who follow Sulawesi's deep time story, this fits a wider pattern. The island has already produced evidence of very ancient human presence, and later finds like a 25,000-year-old jawbone show just how much remains unknown about the people who lived along Wallacea's caves and forests.
Interesting stuff.
Do you want to do another one, or do you want me to do another one? What you got?
I can do another one. So this one is from The Standard, and it came out 10 hours ago as of recording. NHS called in exorcist after frightened hospice staff reported seeing ghosts.
Huh.
The site where the NHS Trust stands used to be a children's hospital before it was converted into a hospice. An NHS Trust contacted an exorcist after staff reported seeing ghosts, including a girl in a red dress at a Norwich hospice. The site was previously used as a children's hospital, and after a series of paranormal incidents, staff fear that it may still be home to the spirits that once lived there. The NHS has reportedly asked for the help of deliverance ministers or exorcists to carry out ceremonies using holy oil. They've become recognised in mainstream culture since the popularisation of you can guess which film.
Casper, the friendly
That's
ghost.
the one. That's the one. God, I haven't thought about that film in ages. The paranormal incidents occurred at Priscilla Bacon Lodge, located near Coleman Hospital, which was previously home to Jenny Lind Children's Hospital. It's now used as a hospice by the Norfolk Community Health and Care NHS Trust. Sources have said there have been concerns about paranormal incidents at the hospice, including repeating sightings of a small child in a red dress. According to the emails from 2023 seen by The Telegraph, the hospice chaplain contacted the Diocese of Norwich for advice/support from the deliverance team. They reported a difficult time at the site and asked some holy oil from Norwich Cathedral. The chaplain explained this would be used to conduct a religious service to soothe the fears of staff and patients who believe the site was haunted. So they're very careful not to say this is used to exorcise. The following week, another email was sent to the Diocese of Norwich, which confirmed they were in a conversation with a member of the deliverance team. The blessing of the building was then carried out, the trust said, but claims no exorcist ever visited the hospice in person. The trust also refused to discuss what paranormal activity patients and staff reported seeing. That's interesting. After the paranormal incidents were reported, Priscilla Bacon Lodge moved to a new premises in 2023. The former children's hospital is now no longer in use, despite being briefly converted into a therapy unit. I think it's quite interesting how, sort of, and I get maybe it's a confidentiality thing, maybe they don't want to draw more attention to it, but the fact that they wouldn't discuss what type of paranormal activity had been noted there. I mean, someone obviously mentioned a girl in the red dress, but
I don't think they generally do discuss things, though, do they? Like, even when they do exorcisms and stuff, I think it's
No, but they didn't. And this was a hospital was saying, like, they didn't want to say what staff and patients had seen.
It
And then
almost
they
encourages
moved.
more of it.
True. That is it, isn't it? 'Cause everyone will be going there. I was like, oh, I saw a thing.
Yeah, I mean, it's like if you do an investigation somewhere, you don't want to know all the stories of what's going on. You need to go
Next thing
in
you know,
and then come out.
you do that, and you get Creed Kafer, you know?
Oh, yeah. Future nod there, eh? See what you did?
So yeah, no, I quite like that one. I was struggling to find some weird news today. I was like, oh, that's juicy.
Good.
What else have you got?
Okay. I have a story from BBC Future.
The future.
It says, what is BBC Future? But no, I'm not going to click that. We're going to do the story. This is about fungus, Andy.
Excellent.
Yeah. So I saw this and I've got some thoughts on it. I haven't read this particular version of the article, but the headline is, they saw them on their dishes when eating. The mushrooms making people hallucinate dozens of tiny humans.
Okay.
I have some thoughts, but we'll come back. So, only recently described by science, the mysterious mushrooms are found in different parts of the world, but they give people the exact same visions. Every year, doctors at hospitals in the Yunnan province of China brace themselves for an influx of people with an unusual complaint. Patients come with a strikingly odd symptom: visions of pint-sized elf-like figures marching under doors, crawling up walls, and clinging to the furniture. And the hospital treats hundreds of these cases every year. All share a common culprit. So it's Lanmaoa asiatica, I think, a type of mushroom that forms symbiotic relationships with pine trees in nearby forests and is a local popular food. It's known for its savory, umami-packed flavor. And in Yunnan, it's sold in markets. It appears on restaurant menus and it's served at home during peak mushroom season between June and August. But one must be careful to cook it thoroughly, though, otherwise the hallucinations will set in. And this sounds fun, if you ask me. All right.
We gonna get some.
So, yeah, a mushroom hot pot restaurant there. The server set a timer for 15 minutes and warned us, don't eat it until the timer goes off or you'll see little people, says Colin Domnua, a doctoral candidate in biology at the University of Utah and the Natural History Museum of Utah, who is studying the mushroom. So it seems very common knowledge in the culture there. But outside of Yunnan and a couple of other places, the strange mushroom is largely an enigma. There are many accounts about the existence of the psychedelic mushroom and many people who look for it, but they never found the species. Says Giuliana Fucci, I think that is, a mycologist and the founder and executive director of the Fungi Foundation, a non-profit group dedicated to discovering, documenting, and conserving fungi.
Fungi Foundation might also be a band name.
You've had one already, though. You can't.
Yeah, I guess.
I've told you before, Andy.
Had one. But what about second? No, I'm still sticking with Gay Beam, but you know.
So, this person, anyway, they're on a quest to solve the decades-old mysteries about this fungi species and identify the unknown compound responsible for its unusually similar hallucinations, as well as what it can potentially teach us about the human brain. I'm trying to see if there's any more cases. There's some earlier reports of something that seems very similar. But what I'm wondering is... Oh, and it also says it's not psilocybin that gives the mushrooms their effect, apparently. So that rules that out. So it's something else within the mushrooms. But what if... Putting it out there now. This is going to make me sound a bit like I'm smoking the wacky backy, I guess. But what if these mushrooms aren't making people hallucinate at all, Andy?
What if
What if they're just allowing people to see what's really there?
So opening their mind to see the little folk.
Maybe the little folk
the
have always
others.
been there, and these mushrooms allow us a little window into what's going on.
I can guarantee a lot of people that take these things and call it spirituality probably have that exact viewpoint.
Now, what happens if we feed these mushrooms to all the leaders of the world?
Trump would probably declare that he was going to annex Tiananmen or Anun, the other world.
Maybe.
Because they need access for America to take over the treacle mines. I don't know. It's yeah, might work. Might just give a nice new interesting flavour to the madness.
But apparently there are some spontaneous hallucinations in people, even when they're not consuming the asiatica.
Okay, what, as if you've consumed it before and you get these hallucinations afterwards?
Just says it's a rare condition. As of 2021, only 226 non-mushroom related cases have been reported.
I mean, across the world, that's still pretty.
That's since 1909 as well, so it's still fairly few. The outcome can be serious. A third of those patients who came down with non-mushroom related cases did not fully recover.
Damn.
You just see little people forever. That's not terrifying.
That is pretty horrifying, isn't it? Does it describe what they look like, these little people?
I don't believe it does, no. Other than little elf-like people. It goes a lot into the science and how they're trying to work out what it is that causes it. There's a lot of mystery still standing with it. I know they're looking at things like magic mushrooms for like PTSD and things too, aren't they? There's a lot of positive stuff to come from it. I know there's a lot of people that frown upon, say, I don't know, the Green Party who want to legalize all drugs. But it's something that can sound a little bit crazy on the surface of it, but when you look into it, actually, there's a lot of benefits to some of these things. They can still be licensed, they can still be regulated.
Yeah.
It's not carte blanche for just everybody being like, I mean, if they, not being funny, but if they legalized all drugs tomorrow, I'm not going to go out and become a heroin addict, am I?
No, yeah, it's like, finally, right. I can have that legal hit of meth that I've been after for so long.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, that's not the point of it, and there's a lot of
I mean, you'd probably try some more though, right?
More meth?
Not meth. Well, I don't know. I'm not going to judge, but you might think, oh, give that a go.
What would I try?
Now it's the done thing.
What would be the list? No, I think I'd stick to stuff I'd done before, to be honest. I think they're fairly safe. Like,
know what you like.
Been a long time, but smoking a little bit of weed, taking magic mushrooms. I don't think I'd go really beyond that.
Don't do drugs, kids.
Don't do drugs.
You might see little people and do a podcast.
Oh, Andy, save us.
All right,
give me something good.
What I got? There you go. I'll bring us down to earth. Some nice, serious news. This is from dangerousminds.net. Scientist apologizes for claiming slice of chorizo was a star. Back in July 2022, a scientist was forced to... I don't know why. It's a recent article. It came out a few days ago. Well, yesterday, in fact. But yeah, it's about a story in 2022. A scientist was forced to apologise after an image he posted online, which he alleged to be an up-close image of Proxima Centauri, was found to actually be a slice of chorizo. That's amazing. Well played, sir. Etienne Klein.
My beer went up my nose.
Oh no. Etienne Klein, a physicist and research director at France's Alternative Energies and Atomic Energy Commission, claimed that a stunning picture was captured by the James Webb Space Telescope. Alongside the picture, Klein originally wrote in the caption, "Picture of Proxima Centauri, the nearest star to the Sun, located 4.2 light years away from us. It was taken by the James Webb Space Telescope. The level of detail on New World is unveiled every day." However, he admitted days later the image was in fact a slice of Spanish chorizo placed on top of a black background. The post was originally explained as a joke, one that attempted to encourage critical thinking about space and an image of online misinformation and fake news in an age of online information and fake news. Scientists explained that to his 91,000 followers at the time, let's learn to be wary of arguments from positions of authority as much as spontaneous eloquence of certain images. He added that the controversial post was backed by his intention to urge caution regarding images that seemed to speak for themselves. However, the joke didn't exactly land. Many argued the post meant the public was now even less likely to believe in science, despite its obvious and arguably increasing importance across the shifting digital landscape. True. In an attempt to win back the trust of his followers, the scientist then posted an image of the Cartwheel Galaxy, assuring followers that the new, equally spectacular photo was genuine. No, it's just some ham. In other space news...
What a waste of salami. I do like a good salami, but I hope he ate it afterwards.
Also, a little bit adds to the end. In other space news, a new startup company has promised interested parties the chance to book a hotel stay on the moon for an eye-watering sum. I can find out that sum in a moment. GRU Space is aiming to build habitable dwellings on the surface of the moon, inflatable structures which will be built in 2031, and eventually hotels by 2032. I can't see it myself. But yeah, just out of interest, I've just clicked the article that they posted, the eye-watering sum.
Does sound very April Fool's-y, which we're a bit early for.
A minimum of £1 million, or dollars actually, is your vacation on the moon.
But we all know that the dollar is crashing all the time with the current
situation. This is true. That'll be like 50p and Arthur Curly-Whirly by then, right?
Who's Arthur Curly-Whirly? Wasn't he that guy from that Hitchhiker's Guide?
Yeah, apparently views of the lunar landscape and Earth, along with envisioned experiences such as surface experiences, including moonwalks, driving, golfing, and other activities. They're designing them to last and operate for 10 years. Yeah, minimum. Oh no, apparently you can get a budget one for $250,000. I'm assuming you've got to top up your oxygen tanks then. Like pay, sort of pay as you go.
That could be risky.
But they think it's probably like people think if they do pull it off, it's going to be like over 10 million.
Wow.
So, I don't know. Keep those buy us a coffee and subscriptions flooding in, and maybe we'll be the first podcast to record from the moon.
Now we'll send Paul. So a giant purple dinosaur has been caught fly tipping on CCTV.
Barney.
Exactly. There's a reason that I wanted to share this, Andy. So let's just quickly show you the video. The video is quite funny. Here we go. All right, there he is there. He rides across the road. Bit of a waddle on him, but, I'm not judging. Chucks his bags. Waddles up the street. Look, we do not condone fly tipping, guys, but at the same time, this is quite funny.
Do it in style, right? It's the waddle.
He waddles. Wait for it, Andy. A little dance around the street sign there. And off he goes into the night.
Wow.
And as expected, he's not been caught because no one knows who it is.
Well, it's Barney the dinosaur.
But I just wanted to quickly mention, Paul is waiting to come in. Okay, just quickly, Andy, I don't know if you know, but Barney the dinosaur went on to become a tantric sex instructor. And he charges $350 for 3 to 4 hours. He's a tantric massage specialist and spiritual healer.
What, with those tiny hands?
Exactly. You couldn't make this up, but we can discuss that later.
Oh, that's what
right now.
Thank you.
But right now, we're going to be joined by Paul Macdonald.
Hey.
Hello, Paul.
Hello.
Hello.
How you
Good to see
doing?
you again, mate.
Aye. All right. Not bad. You hear us okay there?
Yeah, sounds
we-
good.
Good. Happy days.
Yeah. I just wanted to get you on quickly, really, just to, because I know when you were on my other podcast, Will I Like It, you mentioned to me that you'd had your own personal big cat sighting.
Yeah.
So I was quite keen to kind of hear about it, really.
Yeah, sure. No problem. Yeah, I've had a few actually over the years. But I think still first is probably most memorable. Very close, very clear, bright sunny day, and yeah, can still remember that as vividly as when we first saw it. I think that one stuck with us.
But there was, am I mistaken in thinking there was one quite recent sighting, or?
We mapped a sighting just the other day. There's been a bit of fresh activity around Scotland recently, so yeah, we're still on that.
So
Okay.
you haven't had a personal sighting recently? For some reason, I had it in my head you had a recent sighting yourself.
Last year, there was one last year actually. Yeah, that was the most recent. But I
So
think,
whereabouts was that?
that was I'll just say Central Scotland.
That's fair. No, that's fair. Yeah.
That's fair.
We don't like to give locations of active areas away online, so I'll just say that for now. I was driving at the time, and it was in a field beside the car, sitting up, and above the can't remember the exact type of grass that it was now, but I confirmed it at the time that grass is typically 12 to 18 inches high, and it was sitting fully head and shoulders and part of the chest above that.
Wow.
Quite clearly, black against that light background, dead clear what it was. And I was looking in that field in particular because we had sightings before, we had activity there mapped already. So still took us as a shock though, even though I knew I was looking for any sign of that. Still an absolute shock. Yeah.
We were chatting about this recently, actually, about the DNA evidence, and it's like the amount of it's mounted up quite recently, hasn't it? Like there's a lot more than when we last talked.
Sure, yeah. The most recent one from England was the Cumbrian DNA, and that was from a carcass swabbing of a freshly impacted predated sheep. I think I understand that the cat was seen at a close to her around that time as well, to sort of back up what it probably was. But yeah, local researcher went along, swabbed it, got it in straight away, and swabbing carcass has to be done within about 24 hours. So it was done freshly enough and positive result. It came back as Panthera genus, which could be one of several species types in that, but the only one we know is around our environments in the UK is leopard, and so yeah, it would have been that. But that's the 5th in England. That's the 5th positive big cat DNA result in England, and what I can say, this is a wee exclusive for you guys. What I can say is we are currently awaiting results in Scotland from what we're pretty confident would be the first in Scotland.
Wow.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Oh, brilliant. I mean, it's kind of funny, isn't it? Because you swabbing, and if you've got to do it within 24 hours and you get that, there's a little bit of, for me, not having done any of that, there'd be a little bit of an edge of, it's around here somewhere. If it's like, it's literally, it's not going to be too far from where I'm standing doing this. Yeah. There's a big cat out there, potentially watching me.
Absolutely.
But then I don't suppose it'd be a very successful big cat on the loose in Britain, for lack of a better term, if it was going to like wander up to anyone, so.
Yeah. They're naturally just adept and good at not being seen.
Yeah.
I know I told you recently, privately, Paul, and I think I've probably mentioned it on the show as well. My wife saw a big cat when we were on the train back from London.
Yep.
she forgot to tell me about it for a whole day.
Amazing. Amazing.
As you do. And oh yeah, by the way, I saw a big cat. I was like, what, like historically? No, yesterday. What?
See,
I was on the same train.
I'd like to think I'd try and film it, but like at the same time, I think I'd have I've got a work phone as well, so I'd have one phone filming it, the other phone like trying to call Craig.
yeah.
Craig, guess what? Can you record tonight?
It's a lot of folk, a lot of skeptics will say, "Oh, why is there not, clear footage? Why are folk not taking pictures?" And a lot of that's just down to the nature of sightings. Most of them are relatively close but fleeting. It's either bolting across open ground or breaking cover, crossing the road. Typically those sightings are 5 seconds or less, and if it's close, it's enough to give you enough detail. You're no question as to what you've seen, and it typically takes at least 7 seconds to deploy a phone or a camera, switch it on and get a shot, and it's a big reason actually as to why there's relatively a lot of sightings, but not a lot of images or footage to go with it.
I was trying to explain this to someone who, like, for Big Cat Sightings in that case, but also things like UFOs, anything like that, that people, always use the idea of why didn't you get, sort of any decent footage. And I think for me, like, my mum loves, like, World War II planes, right?
Yeah.
So if I hear one coming, if I hear that Merlin engine, I'll get my phone out, and by the time I've got the thing out, or if it's jet, even worse, because you cannot get it. Maybe a fleeting glimpse of it. And it's exactly that, isn't it? And I haven't really properly thought about that until recently.
And the occasional Spitfire or fast jet overhead we can expect now and again. But you don't expect.
So you've got I mean, I think I mentioned when we spoke last, like what I saw in a field that it might have been a big Maine Coon because I thought I saw a collar on it.
Yeah, right.
But it was big. And it had tufts. So I genuinely thought it was. I literally shouted stop to the lass that was driving, to Amy, and like to the point she did an emergency stop. I shouted it so loudly. And I was like, I was effing and blinding. I was like, there's a big cat in that field. There's a big cat in that field.
Yeah.
And this is a few years back. Yeah. And, it was like, it had tufts. I remember almost feeling like queasy when I saw it. Like, is this real?
Yeah. You do that quick process and you're trying to wrap your head around something that's totally abnormal, and shouldn't be there. In a way. And it's, it does. There's a sense of awe, there's a sense of wonder, there's a sense of shock. All those emotions are running around at the same time. And, taking a clear shot is often the last thing on folks' minds in the moment anyway. Yeah.
Yeah, so I know you're busy, so I don't want to keep you too long. But I just wondered if we quickly get your thoughts, because it's probably been nearly a couple of years since you were last on the show. And I know kind of retouched base with you because of some comments on Facebook recently.
Yep.
So I wondered what your thoughts were about, I don't know how really to word the question. I mean, people still aren't really taking it that seriously, are they? Like, you still get lots of people laughing at the idea that big cats could be in the country, and people instantly dismiss it without even looking at the evidence.
Yeah.
But I guess, are you seeing any change within your research? Are people kind of coming around more?
To be honest, I'm not sure. I'm not sure if all the research done to date collectively has had any impact, influence, in public opinion yet, because I think it's still relatively fringe. And it's still relatively fringe because I think it's not been accepted at any governmental level yet as a subject to study. And, even just to be accepted at that level for us would be a first step in the right direction. What we're pressing for in Scotland at the moment is to put forward our Lynx picture specifically, because we distill our mapping into Lynx-centric mapping, and that's already starting to tell a fascinating picture, and one that's got the potential to completely change the question on reintroduction. If they're already here, it's not reintroduction, it's boosting a current population. It's re-energizing in a way. So we've got a little focus on that just now. In fact, I gave a presentation today to one of the main organisations in Scotland that has the Lynx Reintroduction programme at heart. And the first thing we have to do is at least have the research and work recognised by ecology and wildlife organisations up to governmental level. First, they've got to understand what we're doing, and then start to themselves accept and take on that, as a serious enough subject. The moment either Westminster or Holyrood would consider funding a study program, a research program into the existence of Lynx, at least, that would be the very first thing we'd be hoping for, But I think realistically, that still might take some years. Realistically,
I mean, the elusiveness of the Lynx is one of the things, to my understanding, that is limited understanding, admittedly, that is one of the appealing things about reintroducing or boosting them.
Sure.
Is the fact that, unlike wolves, which sort of there's a good chance they'll either will be in the farmers' fields or they'll be going through bins in a big city at some point. Whereas a lynx, they are very solitary. They're very sort of shy, aren't they? They're saying these wouldn't be going and bothering people. They wouldn't be, they'd just be keeping to their environment. They'd be keeping out of the way of people. Yeah, exactly.
So, and their natural habitat is deep forest primarily. Yeah. They can work and operate outside that, but primarily deep forest. Which means, that's dedicated deep study field work as well. At best, we can cut away for the odd weekend, doing field work, which just isn't enough. We need to be out there for weeks and months if we're looking to bring in the Attenborough level 10 out of 10 crystal clear footage and images. That's the dedication his camera crew takes for filming, large felines in their natural environment. We would have to do the same. We can't, with no funding, no support. So that's what we're trying to press for gently at the moment, is that kind of support, or for the government to take it on themselves and for their own, nature bodies to have a small dedicated team to start doing that work,
I mean, I haven't spent much time out in the wilds there, but I did spend a bit of time in Dalwhinnie and sort of yomping around there. You got some deep old forests around there,
Yeah. It's a good place for them, I'd say.
We tend to, at the beginning of the year, we tend to sort of look at predictions that people have made and like whether they came true last year, and we sort of make our own. And Craig, one of yours involved big cats, actually, didn't it?
Well, I just said that, if we're going to look at things that might happen this year within the realms of the weird, that one of the more realistic things would be to hope that there would be more evidence of big cats in the UK.
Yeah.
Which it sounds like you're...
It's a good call. And
hopefully on the way to...
I mean,
how many sightings are you up to now within your...
So we just passed another wee landmark recently, and that was topping 1,800.
Wow.
So we're over 1,800, and they come in fairly frequently. I've worked out we get in roughly 200, 250 sightings a year. That's both historic. A lot of them are historic from, 10, 20, 30 years ago even, to the fresh sightings that are still ongoing.
So do you think they're rising, or do you think there's more people sort of maybe coming forward? Like, it's just been steady, but people are more confident. And in a way, that's a good sign, right? People are saying, you know what, I don't feel as out there, or like I'm going to be laughed at as much if I talk about this now.
Yeah, that's a great question, because, that's something you've always got to question about statistics and figures. Are we seeing more just because it's being studied more? And I'd say it's difficult for us to determine that. Now that we've got an online presence and we're doing public events and we're engaging with witnesses directly, I'd say we as a team are getting more sightings in now than we would before. So certainly we're mapping more because of that. Are we seeing more of a rise in fresh sightings? That is something we've not yet done. We're working at the moment, though, on generating different maps that can give us that sort of information. So what I can say, though, about lynx sightings, At the moment, we have 131 Lynx sightings only on the map. Of those, 47 of them, which is about a third or a little over a third, are in the past 5 to 10 years. So that's
Interesting.
suggesting
So that might be a
overall
growing population.
we've got an uptrend in sightings, which suggests maybe it's being seen just because there's maybe more of them out there. It's a possibility, but yeah.
Think kind of like what I saw. Do you think there's a extent? Yeah. Do you think to some extent people are seeing lynx but kind of writing it off as just a big domestic cat, but just in their mind? You know, I mean, I know they're very different,
Possibly
but at a
some do.
distance, and you'd feel if you saw something that was undeniably a leopard. You know, you'd be like, no, that is definitely a leopard, you know. But if you saw a sort of corner of your eye running, sort of slinking off in the bushes or whatever, you're like, that's a big old cat there. Is that, you know, there's a little bit more confusion maybe. I don't know.
Well, we like lynx sightings because they tend to be pretty determinable. Lynx are weird creatures, right?
Yeah.
They look weird. They've got a funny gait. They've got pointy, tufted ears. They've got this
very powerful legs as well.
Yeah.
Very like thick sort of, you know.
Yeah, exactly. The whole physical form is unusual looking, and this very distinctive little stubby tail or black tip. So and spots if it's Eurasian lynx, which the most seem to be. So these are all weird things to see on in the wild, and we usually get at least 2 of those distinctive character features reported with any sightings, and that to us makes it quite clear as to size-wise and with the features what's being seen. So we like lynx sightings because they tend to be pretty characteristic, I would say.
Wow.
I'll have to check out the sightings for Epping Forest near London because it's not the biggest forest. It's not small though, and I suppose if you've got people, dumping off exotic pets in that kind of release, it's probably a likely candidate. But I remember walking around there as a kid, and me and my mate heard something scream, right?
Right.
And later on, I was like, it must have been a deer. And then later on, when I've heard a lot more muntjac scream, I'm like, that definitely wasn't a deer or a fox.
Okay.
Some real big sort of screaming noise.
Wow. Okay.
But like definitely an animal. And like we literally shut ourselves and ran. You know, we legged it.
Yeah.
But now I don't know if there are any big cats that are sort of possibly out there in the UK that do scream like that. I don't know.
Puma have a very characteristic scream. And a lot of folks say it sounds like a lassie being murdered in the woods.
Yes, I have actually heard those. It was more similar to that than any other things that scream. I don't know if it's quite that, but maybe it was.
Yeah, it's a blood-curdling scream almost, I would run too,
I've heard it. I heard it quite a lot where I was living once in the woods in Broxbourne, but that was because there was a guy with it seemed like a private collection. I don't know, but he had wolves and he had 2 pumas.
Yeah.
Because and I think I mentioned last time we spoke, I was like walking along one day. And I looked over and did this double take. Like, there's a mountain lion there. I was like, your brain goes, nah. And I looked back and, like, literally, I just saw, because there's this fucking mountain lion the other side of the road. But what I didn't see immediately was the green mesh between us. Okay. So I just did a fucking thing just pacing along with me.
Yeah, wow.
Because, in captivity, they do that thing where they, like, follow you and you're like, you want to eat me, don't you?
Yeah. Yeah, private collections seems to be the start of a lot of origin stories.
Yeah.
Why they got out there, yeah. Yeah, we map those as well. We've got a map just of origin stories. And
I mean, it makes sense. You got to know this stuff, yeah.
Yeah, and you overlay it and it naturally just, makes sense, yeah.
I was trying to explain this to someone the other day as well, like talking about, like, when everyone was buying turtles and terrapins and things of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and everything. And then they were like, oh, shit, we don't want to actually keep these. We're going to get rid of them. They're chucking them in ponds. And they were thriving, like, and rivers and stuff. Like, you still go to places and they've still got them, that you do, yeah.
There's a couple in Swindon I used to go and watch, and I used to do a bit of wildlife photography, and I used to go and photograph the terrapins at a local park.
But, like... I was saying to someone, if you've got an exotic pet like that and a new law comes in and they're like, oh yeah, you've got to like pay loads of money or get rid of it like in this certain way that costs lots of money. Yeah. You think, well, I don't want to do that. I'm not going to go in and murder it with my bare hands because it's a big thing that would rip my face off. Yeah. I'm gonna, or I just don't want to kill it, which is quite understandable.
Yeah.
So yeah, it kind of completely makes sense to me. People just like driving them off somewhere for a few hours, just off you fuck.
To be honest, that as an environmental issue it's not unusual, and pretty much every country in the world has non-native species out there.
Yeah,
and a lot of those starting with same kind of thing, just enough of them being released around the same time, and sometimes it's like
South
the UK.
America. They have hippos, I think. There was like a drug.
South America, I wasn't aware of that. Do they?
Yeah, was it?
There's one of the drug lords had them imported, and they're still there now.
Right. Okay.
I don't was it like Pablo Escobar?
I think it might have been Escobar actually.
Okay. Yeah.
And they just have like a kind of thriving population there still.
Yeah. I mean, wild boar have taken off in Scotland, and they're, in most areas of Scotland now, there's wild boar being reported.
Yeah.
And what excites us though is we've looked at the mapping of wild boar also, and the sightings, and it looks like we've got more sightings of big cats than wild boars, and they reckon the wild boar population's around 1,500.
Maybe if it wasn't for the big cats, there'd be more.
Well, yeah, that's it. They'd be perfect prey, for big cats. Yeah. Perfect, actually. Yeah.
I think was it between the Isle of Rum and the mainland as well? I think there used to be a house out on Rum, maybe, that had a bunch of exotic pets, and there were like crocodiles or alligators or something in that bit of.
I think I heard something about Rum. Yep.
At some point, I don't think it was very long lived, but there was something quite exotic like that.
There's a famous island for a while, Loch Lomond, Wallaby Island, where there was somebody who had a collection of them and decided to at least keep them contained by dumping them on an island, and they've thrived ever since.
There's
a bunch down in Gloucestershire, actually.
Yeah,
wallabies.
Some pockets in the UK with like wallaby populations. I mean, I get it. A lot of people, they study and say, you know what, they're not actually doing any harm.
Yeah,
leave them.
Yeah. At the last game fair, I spoke to a lad from out west of Glasgow direction. He said he would shoot there now and again, and he knows a lad that's shot porcupine and monkeys out there.
Wow.
Yeah, in the wild.
I did a bit of volunteering with these GWCT.
Yep.
When I was going out with a girl who was doing a master's in conservation, wildlife management, and she did her placement up there. So I used to go up and visit them, and I thought, well, I haven't got anything else to do but kicking around this little converted hunting lodge in Dalwhinnie.
Yeah.
So, which is nice, but you want to see place. So it was great, just jumping across the landscape looking for black grouse. It was quite good, but. Yeah. With what I don't know now, and I kind of wish I'd have grilled them a little bit more on this stuff, know?
Sure. Yeah.
If anyone's interested, I did just fact check it, and it was Pablo Escobar, and it started off as 4 hippos in the 80s, and now they reckon there's potentially over 200 hippos there.
Wow.
They're thriving.
Wow. Yeah, they'll do their thing.
Right. On that note, Paul, I think we'll let you go because I know you're a busy man.
Thank you very much for joining us again, Paul. Really appreciate it. Good to see you.
No problem. Absolute pleasure. Look forward to seeing you again.
Do you want to do a quick social plug, actually, before you go? Social media or anything like that, where people can follow you?
My personal Facebook group's Macdonald Armories. I make custom swords and knives. That's what the interesting cutlery here behind me is all about. But yeah, on the Big Cat side, it's Big Cat Sightings in Scotland. That's our Facebook group. And you can find us, and you'll find our latest evidence and such up there too.
Perfect. Thanks, Paul.
Brilliant. Thanks, fantastic.
Problem,
thank you very much.
Cheers.
All right. I'll speak to you soon.
Cheers,
Paul. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Yeah, that is nearly it from us, but I understand that we have a long overdue story that you're going to tell. And I say long overdue because it got lost in the fabled lost Wyrd Wessex recordings.
Yes, I've read this story twice so far on the podcast, so third time's a charm, eh?
That's
I've
it. I'll stick around even though I know what happens.
So this was a story that was sent in to us by a listener. Just thinking, he signs the email, so I guess I can say this is Nick's story. And I know, Nick, you watch along on YouTube, so hello.
Hi, Nick. thank you very much for your support and and sending it in as well.
And for your story, yeah, I mean, if anyone has any stories, and that can be anything from big cats to ghost stories to UFOs, whatever you like. We did have a lady, didn't we, once that we had
Indeed.
on a Zoom call because she wanted to come on herself and tell us about a sighting up in the Falkirk Triangle region. So we're game for chatting to people. We take things seriously, mostly.
Yeah, absolutely. If you've if you got anything you want to talk about, whether it's coming on the podcast and chatting about it yourself or sending it in to us, like Nick has, and we'll read it out. Just let
Likewise,
us know.
you can be anonymous if you like. Sorry, you'll have to excuse me. I've just popped a locket in my mouth so I don't cough through Nick's door. Just lubricate the airways a little bit. And Nick, I have had to shorten this down ever so slightly. I hope you don't mind. So Nick's email reads, "Hello, weirdos."
Hello.
That's you, Andy.
That's me.
And me, I guess. So this goes back to the early 90s. I was living in a tiny Victorian attic flat on Highfield Avenue in Brooklands. I didn't make a note here. I think that was by Manchester, if I remember rightly. From the start, it never felt right. You literally never felt alone in that room. It began with the doorbell ringing relentlessly at all hours. No cause was ever found. And then things escalated. One night, the living room bulb made a strange electrical hissing sound, faded slowly into total darkness, and then slowly returned to normal. And he says, "I remember saying, 'It's him, isn't it?' thinking of my girlfriend's late father, but the incidents that followed were far from comforting. Once in the pitch black, we both froze. We couldn't see each other, but we felt an overwhelming, dangerous presence right in the middle of the room. We were huddled in terror as I fumbled for the light. But the most profound moment, though, was when we were leaving for a trip to Anglesey. We'd packed, tidied, and switched the electricity off at the mains to try and save some money. We got down to the garden path, looked back, and were dumbfounded. Every single light in the flat was on. I had to go back up 3 flights of stairs alone, and as I reached the door, the radio was blasting at full volume. The flat was fully lit, and the radio was screaming, despite the power being cut. I turned it all off again, and we fled." And he says, "I still think of this often. To this day, that property is derelict and unoccupied, a stark contrast to the well-kept houses surrounding it. All the best, Nick." And he did send me a Google Street View of it, and it is definitely a derelict property still. Nobody lives there for whatever reason that might be.
It's quite sinister feeling, I mean, it's one of those things that all of those instances, they do have other explanations, but after a while, like, how many explanations are you looking for to cover something? I don't know. What's your take?
It's a ghost, mate.
Fair enough. There you go. Solved it. Next.
Solved. I don't know. The property is still empty. Is that because it had dodgy wiring and no one could afford to fix it? I mean,
or is it because of the ghost?
Exactly, Andy. You see where this is going.
It's certain things that would absolutely freak me out. There's me here sitting in my flat far away from that derelict building talking the big talk. But, if that happened while I was there, I might well have to nope out there myself.
Like you say, one at a time, you kind of be like, oh, that's weird. But over a period of time, you start to look back and go, hang on, there's too much happening now.
Yeah.
I don't know. I've had a series of weird things happen, as I've probably said on the show before. I can't necessarily explain them, but do I believe they're paranormal?
Yes.
I'm still, I want to believe camp, right? So
that's it. Want to believe.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I guess that about wraps it up today.
Do you want me to do some shout outs? Yeah, so Nick, whose story we just read, has actually recently signed up. He donated and then he's become a regular Moonraker, which is where you pay £3 a month to support the show. So yeah, Nick, Rosie donated recently as well. I know we gave you a shout out last time, but you can have another one. Simon is also a Moonraker at £3 a month. And then Terry is also a Moonraker who paid for a year up front. So thank you very much, Terry.
Yeah, absolutely.
Very much appreciated. If anyone else wants to sign up, if you go to wyrdwessex.co.uk, it will take you to our Buy Me a Coffee page. As I say, you can make one-off donations or you can become a supporter. I am going to email out, probably by the time this has gone out, I want to do a monthly newsletter, which will just update you on what episodes we've done this month, brief summaries, some of the weird news we've covered this month, just as a once-a-month summary as to what's gone on. So if you've missed out on the podcast, you can see kind of where you want to go back and catch up and stuff like that.
Yeah,
maybe we'll put a little bit of upcoming stuff on there as well.
Yeah, I was going to say, maybe a little teaser into what we're doing next.
Yeah, so I'm going to write that probably tomorrow and send that out as it's the end of the month for us now. So by the time this goes out, the first one would have gone out, and that will be to paying subscribers only. If there's anything you want in the newsletter particularly, though, just let us know, because we can pop in things like show notes or links to the books we've used, that kind of thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
We kind of want to make this as useful as possible to people. So if you want to see the resources,
Just
as
let
Andy
us
said,
know
there is a book club as well. And yeah, follow us on all our social media. We're at Wyrd Wessex or Wyrd_Wessex on Instagram. And there's a Discord if you want. Currently, there's 2 people in there. Andy's not even in there.
I haven't actually joined yet. I keep meaning to. I haven't been using Discord really, so I need to jump in there and get involved.
I'm new to Discord, so we have enlisted UA Paul to help us because he's a bit more up on these things. But I have tried to make a few posts in there. So yeah, if you want to have a chat with us, talk about some weird news. Well, the group is currently not doing anything except for a few posts I've made. So until people get in there and actually start talking, if you don't and you don't want it, fair enough. We'll probably end up deleting it.
But yeah,
but it's there if you want it. Yeah. And yeah, there's a link. If you go to the Buy Me a Coffee page, then there's a link to that. There should be. I don't know how this stuff works.
Thanks very much for listening, and until next time, stay weird.
Wrong podcast.
Damn. And it also doesn't blame the owls. Thanks for listening.
Play that catchy theme tune.